Okay, thank you, and very welcome everyone to Stockholm and the AGI-23 conference. So a lot of things have happened in AI since last conference, and I thought I would try to zoom out a little bit and look at the big picture. So here is a graph of the human population development over the past 10,000 years or so. And as you can see, it's going straight up and it's following quite closely to technical innovations. Here, for example, is the Watt engine and railroads, the Industrial Revolution. And if we look at the human impact in terms of biomass, it's quite amazing. So 4% of the global mammal biomass consists of wild mammals like elephants, whales, and so on. 34% consists of humans. And the rest consists of things that we eat. So that's, we are dominating the planet. And if we look at the development of other species, then it's, as we all know, going down when it comes to biodiversity quite rapidly too. And this goes for all kinds of species. And if we look at the biggest causes of biodiversity loss, then it's things like habitat loss, overexploitation, pollution, and climate change. So all of those are human activities. So of course we are causing this development. So we are doing something like this right now, it seems. So we are facing a serious sustainability problem where we must learn to combine economy with ecology. And we need to become better at using technology, it seems, not least AI. And as we all know, there are lots of different unethical uses of AI already today, depending on how you define it. Things like fake news and mass surveillance are two examples. But there are also a lot of positive uses, such as diagnostics, drug development, and traffic safety. And in those cases, it could arguably be unethical not to use AI. So we have to try to understand the consequences of AI as good as we can. And it's clear that there is a huge upside. We can tackle a lot of sustainability goals by using AI. But also a huge downside. For example, as Hinton said, it is hard to see how you can prevent the bad actors from using it for bad things. And I think that's something that most people would agree to too. So we might ask, do we understand the consequences of AI? Well, we've had a very fast development lately, so I think the honest answer is no for most people. But I also think that this is the common situation when it comes to technological development. I suppose it was the same thing when they invented the wheel, the printing press, and the computer. It was very hard to survey the consequences and look into the future. And if we look at the AI research community, it's pretty divided too on these issues. So clearly we need more research on the economic, political, and social consequences of AI. And just an observation, these are social science questions, so they are most fitting for social scientists and not so much for AI researchers, mathematicians, cognitive scientists, and so on. And we also need more speculation, I think, because we are trying to look into the future at these very important questions. But looking into the future, that makes it part of future studies. And that is sometimes counted as a part of social sciences. And sometimes people say that this is not science, this is only speculation. But even if it is only speculation, it is very important that we keep on speculating and thinking about these consequences. And finally, we need more regulations. We have a lot of regulations in sectors like food, healthcare, automotive, aviation. But for AI, we don't have it yet. But now one of the first AI laws is underway here in Europe. They just took a big step this week. Yes. And if we look at the state of the art, the current situation in AI, and compare what AI can do to what humans can do at different tasks, then, as we all know, AI is at the human level or beyond at many tasks. But let's not forget that there are still a lot of tasks that human can do better, just like climbing any mountain. We don't have rescue robots that can do that. Work in any home. We don't have service robots that can do it. Or drive on any road. We don't yet have autonomous cars that can do it. So we're still not all the way there, that's for sure. And if we think about what kind of tasks we are trying to solve with AI, then most of all, it is about man-made tasks. Like here are just two examples, like solving IQ tests and designed by psychologists, and playing games designed by people. But animals were not developed primarily to solve IQ tests or play Go. They were developed to survive and reproduce. So they are facing other kinds of tasks, like find food, find mate, avoid predators, avoid obstacles. So one might ask, how good is AI at solving those kind of questions, at surviving in challenging environments, like animals can do? Well, that can bring us to the survival games, where the goal is to survive. But sometimes it is not only to survive, but also to collect points or do some achievements. So here we have 4 different survival games: Breakout, Pac-Man, Crafter, and Minecraft. And AI is much better currently at those games because they are being played on fixed boards. It's always they always operate in the same worlds. So that's pretty easy for reinforcement learning algorithms, for example, to learn. But here it's much harder, where we have open worlds and worlds that the player has never seen before, such as in Minecraft. And then in those cases, humans are much better. But in those games, these games are not only about survival, so they are also about those achievements. And we were interested in looking at pure survival games, where the only challenge is to collect food and avoid obstacles. So we developed an AI algorithm that tries to survive, and it operates always in new worlds that it has never seen before, randomly generated. And then we compare human to machine performance. And in this case, humans are better. We also made another basic survival game of this kind, which is set in the game engine Unity, and we have generated a lot of different worlds, forest environments in this case, and trained reinforcement learning agents to survive there, in this case some kind of rabbits. So they run around in the forest where they have never been before, and they need to collect 2 kinds of food to survive. And here that's an overview seen from above, and this is the retina, and this is the gaze of the hare. So it's running around in this environment, trying to survive and competing with other hares. And it has to take obstacles into account in the form of trees, and think about the slopes of the terrain, where it will lose more energy if it tries to go uphill. So in this case, we got the opposite result. So the machine was better than humans. Well, it's not perfect, as you can see. The reason for that is probably that it's fairly hard to steer this rabbit with the keys, simply. But on the whole, we got a result which says that machines and humans are roughly equal at these basic survival games. So this was an example of a strategy for AGI to create AGI via cognitive modeling. And the main idea there is that if we can model animal cognition, and in particular human cognition, well enough, we will get AGI. So that's one of the avenues towards AGI. Another one which we have seen a lot of in the past year is generative models. So they learn patterns in human artifacts like text, pictures, music, videos, and they all predict what's going to happen next. And humans are really good like prediction machines, and so are the generative models nowadays. And one striking feature of generative models is that it's possible to use the transformer architecture in a lot of different for a lot of different purposes, like for computer vision, natural language processing, reinforcement learning, speech translation, and all of those can actually be tackled with one and the same architecture, which is pretty fascinating. So one architecture works for many different purposes. And the same thing seems to be true of the human brain, which has a neocortex divided into 6 layers. So it looks essentially the same in many different places, like in the visual cortex and motor cortex and so on. So the same architecture is able to process many different sensory modalities. But again, we are not there yet. So here is an interesting example from Stuart Russell, who reported an experiment where a pretty average human player challenged the best computer Go playing program, which is far better than AlphaZero. It's called GBX Kata 005. The computer got a big handicap too. And they started to play, and Go is about surrounding basically. So black is the computer, and it has started to surround the white pieces. So it's going well. But in the meantime, white, the human player, started to surround the group that is surrounding. And eventually that went well, so that the human player actually outperformed the program in this case. And this suggests that neural networks can't really represent the key notion of Go, which is that of surrounding groups. Even though it's excellent, it can't really conceptualize it like humans can do. And here is an example from ChatGPT. And I wrote there, suppose it takes 5 hours to dry 5 shirts in the sun. How long does it take to dry 10 shirts? Okay. And then it answers, yeah, okay. Then we can assume that each shirt takes 1 hour to dry. This implies that the rate is 1 shirt per hour. And then if we have 10 shirts, it should take 10 hours. But we have common sense, so we know that, well, it will be enough with 5 hours for those two, right? So I'd like to thank our keynote speakers so much for accepting to give keynotes here. Irina, Anoop, Noah, and Martin and Tom. And our sponsors, especially Digital Futures and SingularityNET and AGI Society, of course. And to our committees, who have done a great job here with Marian, Patrick, Robert, Matthew, Haley, Vlad, Birger, and Pei. Thanks so much. Yeah. Exactly. And finally, I hope you will enjoy the conference, and don't forget to look at Stockholm too. Thank you very much.